I like to know what it is that motivates them, right? And just go about some questions around what excites them, what motivates them. And then just some basic questions around, have you ever experienced this or have you ever experienced that? So, have them walk us through a project that they've been a part of, what they learned from the project, what their role was in the project. If they've done an internship, really asking them questions about the internship, what they learned from that. Analytical thinking is certainly something that I think is exceptionally beneficial to progress in your HR career. So being able to just think about a situation, analyze it, and come up with a theory. We're just looking to see that they've actually had some exposure, some job, right? Even working at Target or working at a restaurant, in a capacity like that, puts you in more of a lot of HR is customer service. Really, when you think about it, it's your customer service to a manager, or it's customer service to the employee in terms of making them, feel like they've been heard and, that they've been able to get a resolution. So I think what we look for, if you don't really have a lot of work history, is that you have some work history, whether that would be, and even someone potentially who's, maybe had a role and they've just been a babysitter. We're looking for somebody who demonstrates dependability. One of the things in HR is how you get along with people, right? And how you respond in a situation that may be tense. So, did you ever have a project where you didn't get along with the others on the team, and what did you do? So I think it's important, to be specific, right? And to give examples. A lot of times, people will just kind of give you some vague answer. We're really looking for something specific in there that demonstrates what you really did learn, right? That you're able to articulate that. That's sometimes where you can really get the critical thinking.
Most students who are coming out, either undergrad or certainly or graduate, that are like in one of our programs, they're usually applying for jobs that have sort of a title like analyst, sometimes or associate type of thing, where they're often going to be looked at for their quantitative ability. Can you use Excel? Can you build a complex model? Can you understand cash flow analysis? Do you understand zoning? Do you understand building? So there is a definitively a technical side of it that I think most people they expect from a graduate of a real estate program, especially one like ours. They also want to know about a lot of questions about work ethic. Our field is sort of a derivative set sort of from the finance realm, so some of the war stories you may have heard about investment banking, about the 80, 100-hour weeks. I'm not sure that's exactly what you're going to see in real estate, but they want that work ethic that you're willing to do. Real estate's very deal driven and very, there's a lot of pressure points, and it's large, big numbers if you're working on multi-million-dollar deals. So an employer wants to know that you're going to stick in there and sort of be, in the trench warfare with them. And
so when I'm interviewing candidates, I really like to understand true examples of things in real life. So I can ask them, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses? That's all fine and dandy, but I would love an explanation of at what time in your career have you used those strengths to overcome an obstacle? Or what time in your career have some of those weaknesses really hurt you in progressing within your career? I actually really like to ask the interviewee what their questions are. I learn a lot from someone by what questions they're asking me. Are they connecting those dots? Are they really digging to understand more about the company, the culture, the job itself? So for me, really having the candidate come with a list of questions and being really curious about the role is something that I really look for. They're coming out of college. What activities did they do while on campus? What internships did they do throughout their years? In my mind, internships is the #1 most important thing that you can do in your college career.
Are you organized, or can you work autonomously? Can you work with a team? Do you like merchandise? Do you have a passion for this product? You ask questions about whether people know how to open doors. Are they going to be more of a cold caller, or are they going to be more of an account manager? Asking them, do they like to read, and if so, what kinds of things do they read? People read a lot of the weekly magazines or even monthly magazines. They don't even realize they're reading about trending. So I'll get people say, yeah, well, I like to read People magazine. Okay, People magazine is actually great for our industry because they cover all your runways, they cover all your big award shows, and that's where trends are born out of. They're reading about trends without even realizing they're reading about trends. Something I will often ask is, do they or have they played sports? Not that that's the end-all be-all, but you tend to see athletes who have played in some type of team sport understand the team concept and understand that They need different position players to succeed on the field or on the court or on the ice, and same thing happens in business. You need different position players to be able to work and be successful as a team in business as well. My advice to people would be when interviewing is make sure you ask the questions of your boss. How do they manage? What's their style? If you like to work autonomously, are they going to give you the authority to make autonomous decisions? Also understanding them and their lifestyle in terms of, do they have a work-life balance? Because if they have a work-life balance, they're more likely to allow you to have one. If they don't, and the work is their life, they are then also more likely to expect the same of you. People will come in, straight out of college, or straight out if they come out of high school, entry level, which is usually a sales assistant, sales support side, and then kind of learn the business that way. When you talk to people in the industry who are hiring, you get two very different schools of thought. One is, I want to hire someone from the industry who knows the industry, who understands the industry, and already has all that knowledge. The other is, let's hire someone who is either out of school or not from the industry, because you can teach the industry, but you can't teach the intangibles.
Are you comfortable selling? Tell me how you would market this. How do you get along with people? How are you as a team player? How sensitive are you about your own work? How are you in taking criticism? And then of course the classic, what's your greatest strength and what's your greatest weakness, that kind of thing.
What would you advise to someone how to answer the weakness question?
Try to take your strength and turn it into a weakness without seeming cheesy. I may say, I'm really disorganized. The upside of that would be, I'm disorganized because I usually have so many things going on. I take on more projects than are generally assigned to me, so therefore you may find a lot more things in my office than you might expect. But on the other hand, I never miss a deadline. I get everything done. So it may look like chaos, but I know what I'm doing.
What kind of projects they've done in the past. When you ask somebody for different projects that they've worked on, you get an idea of what kind of things that they're good at, what kind of things are important to them. You get an idea of how they can contribute to your team, what kind of a person they are. Tell me about a problem you solved that was really interesting mathematically, and how you communicated that problem to a business person. Really important for a data science. It's important to communicate your well-roundedness somehow. The number of other courses that would make you interesting. If you've competed in something, you should write that down. Compete against yourself, because you can see the person competing against themselves and actually see what they've learned. I think it would be awesome if somebody showed me a resume and said, here's version 1 and here's version 2 of this project that I did. I think that would be so amazing.
I remember one question was for an in-game host and reporter for a team in this past season that they weren't doing so well. So I got asked, like, how would you make fans excited, and why is that important? Like, how would you go about that? Because sometimes it's hard to keep fans for a losing team. Unless you're very in debt to that team, it's hard to get people excited about a losing team. So how are you going to do that? How are you going to keep people engaged and keep the fan engagement and keep people rooting for the same team? So I think it truly just depends on what job you go for, but absolutely research ahead of time. Know the network, try to find the news directors, try to find producers, try to find any connection that you may have, and just be as prepared as possible.
What was your answer on how to make fans excited?
Gotta bring energy, gotta bring presence, showing players off the field, having fun, kind of being able to help the fans get to know the players personally, not just on the field. I think that's huge with fan engagement. Creating hype videos, creating videos to get them excited for a matchup, and just the flashiness. And again, I think truly being able to tell and get people to know the players off the field is also something that's very key.